that's not what we're talking about today. Is March a good time to buy stocks? According to data from the last 5 years, perhaps seems to be the case. But we're not the experts on that. Nimesh is the one who's done a fair amount of data crunching, a lot of years. Why don't you march forth to the wall and tell us about what to do?
Well, Mangalam, there is a saying in the market, right? When there is so much of fear, one needs to be greedy to make money in the market, and that's exactly what the data suggests. That is March a good month to buy for a good rally in the over the next 6 months or 9 months from there on. So let me just put that in terms of context and in terms of data as well. The question is March the good month to buy? For and the historical data do suggest that it turns out to be a good month. So look at the Nifty first. The Nifty returns over the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, the average the March return has been pretty much flat or negative. Okay, 1%, 0.5%, or minus 23%, but that was a COVID year. And look at the corresponding returns over the next 9 months between March to December. 24, the Nifty was flat in the month of March, and it gave up 6% returns. In 23, it was again flat, 0.3%, and it gave 25% return. 22 was a bit of an outlier. It actually gained 4%, and hence it didn't give any returns in the remaining 9 months. But same with 21, just 1% up in the month of March, and it ended up gaining 18%. I'm not counting 2020 because that was a COVID year. That's the Nifty. Similar is the case with the mid and small cap indices as well. This is the mid cap index over the last 5 years and the corresponding 9-month returns. 24 was a flat to negative year. You see the return over the next 9 months. Same is the case with in 23 as well. It was pretty much flat in the month of March, and the kind of return was 53% over the next 9 months from there on. Again, the only thing is in all these charts, when there is a positive month in March, you don't end up getting too much of returns over the next 9 months. So that's an outlier there. And again, 2020 was an outlier because of COVID year, minus 24% in that single month, and it ended up gaining big gains there. Similar is the case with BSE small cap indices as well. Look at the last 5 years of monthly returns in the month of March and the corresponding returns over the next 9 months from there on. Minus 5 to plus 28, minus 1%. To 58% return over the next 9 months in 23 as well. Again, 2020 was an outlier, minus 30 to plus 88. So that's the kind of return we get over the next 9 months when March turns out to be a bit of a softish month. Now what has happened is after the correction and the kind of pain we've seen, some brokerages have turned constructive on the Indian equities from a valuation point of view. Nimesh Shah of BofA Securities wrote a note this week, and he said that it's turning constructive at least on the Nifty, and they have a year-end target of 25,000. However, they remain bearish on the mid and small cap, largely from a valuation point of view. So that's BofA Securities. Even Mahesh Nandurkar of Jefferies has written a note, and it's an interesting thing, right? I mean, after the correction, he believes that the India's valuation to MSCI EM is back to 10-year average, and normally we've seen from those levels, market tends to bounce back and give both absolute as well as returns over the next few months. So that's the reason why a lot of people are turning bullish. Now that's a big call. Now I'm turning to some of the micro stocks, which is the individual stocks, where in the last few weeks you've seen a lot of upgrades coming in. The first on my list is Reliance Industries. Look at the Macquarie note today. Macquarie put out a note, and for the first time in 4 months, in 4 years, Macquarie has turned positive on Reliance, and they put out an outperform rating. Even Kotak Securities has recently upgraded Reliance to a buy now, and they both believe that the risk reward is now favorable after the recent correction. The potential upside, according to the consensus, is close to 32% from Reliance from here on. So that's one big micro call. The other big report where there was upgrade was on the defense name. So, or maybe for the capital goods stocks. Kotak Institutional Equities, they believe that after the recent correction, it's time to bet on capital goods stocks. They actually upgraded Carbon Universal and Praj Industries to buy, and they've upgraded ABB and Thermex to add after the recent fall in those stocks prices. So that's Kotak Securities talking about the capital goods stocks. The third would be, again, Citi has put out a note this week on SBI. They've actually done a double upgrade on SBI to a buy from sell, and they believe that valuation after the correction is inexpensive, and they expect a potential upside of close to 25%. That was again a big upgrade coming there. And next is, again, a stock called Lupin. Even on Lupin, there have been a couple of upgrades coming in from the likes of Citi and Equirus. Both have upgraded the stock. They believe that the US launch momentum is going to be quite strong, and after the correction, valuation has become attractive according to those notes. So that was Lupin. Even the other big sector was EMS. We've seen massive correction in the EMS stocks, but after the correction, Investec put out a note this week. They've upgraded Sirma and Keynes to an hold, and they believe that the valuations become quite decent after the recent correction, and they prefer Ember and Dixon Enterprises in the EMS space. Similarly, CLS has put out a couple of high conviction upgrades, and one which stands out is Varun Beverages. They upgrade the stock to high conviction outperform, target price of 770, a potential 70% upside from current levels. And even they believe that the risk reward is quite compelling after the recent correction. Similarly, CLS also put out a note on PFC, Harisi, again upgrading both of them to high conviction outperform ratings. Even there, the correction has been quite sharp. And if you look at the target prices, most of them are pretty much bullish, and the upside targets could be between 50 to 70% on the strikes like RSC and PFC. So again, big upgrades coming there. And lastly, there was a Nomura upgrade on Alchem as well. Even there they believe that the underperformance was unwarranted, and after the correction, it's become an attractive buy at current level. So there was an upgrade on Alchem as well. So as I said, if you look at the historical data, if March has been a weak month, that's when one should buy, because when you buy the fear, that's the time you have to be greedy and you make good returns there.
Take that point, Nimesh. Incredible data piece.